What's up, everybody? What is up, everybody? Let me fix the volume. Sorry. It's been a while. I'm out of practice. What's up, everybody? Thank you for being here. It's Big Cheds. It's May 6, 2025. This is part of my quick market update series on my YouTube channel at Cheds Trading. I try to do these updates a couple times a week, few times a week. I've actually been on vacation for like the last 3 weeks. 3 weeks I've been on the road, and these are fun, but they're optional. Bitcoin Live's not optional. I do the twice a week full market report. It's been now 6 years where I have not missed a report on a Wednesday or Sunday night. If you're looking for the full depth in market analysis, full market in depth analysis, that I never skip a report, check out Bitcoin Live. These are fun. I'm probably I was doing 3 days a week. I'll probably start doing these 2 days a week, like Tuesday, Friday. I just got back and I wanted to talk to you folks because I really try to put out as much free content as possible, YouTube, Twitter, and then if there's more, if you want it. So I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for joining in. Let me know what you're thinking, how you're feeling. Get your questions ready. I've got all the stuff. Of course, you know me from Twitter at Big Cheds. If you're looking for a trading exchange, check out BingX. My new book is out, The Trading Journal. We've got some reviews now. Thank you, folks. We finally got some reviews. The reviews are great. This is my 4th published book. I published 3 more books. I've got free versions of those on my YouTube channel. Check all that good stuff out. And so I think that's all I really wanted to say to get started here in the intro. So, how's everybody doing? It's great to be here. Let's just get right into the charts, and I'll jump back in the chat room, see how everybody's doing, and we'll kind of flow from there. I don't know how long I'll go. I still have so much stuff to do. You come back from being away, and you've got this mile-long list of things you want to do. So what do we think about Bitcoin? All right. So I tend to think we have our lower high here. I've been on watch for a lower high, and if you've been at Bitcoin Live, you know this. I talked a little bit about it on Twitter, but I've been on watch for a lower high somewhere in this range. So just to back things up, there was this implications of the 90K breakdown suggesting a drop to 72K. And my thesis was that we're going to get to that level, but there was some price action that caught my eye, and you saw it on Twitter. You saw it in Bitcoin Live where I said, okay, go, 81K is the long trigger. So you've been long pretty cleanly from a conservative standpoint at 81K. And I was watching for potential pause at 88.5, didn't happen. And then I was watching the price action right around here, and there's some interesting commentary where I saw a really healthy 4-hour look, and I pointed out that we had bullish divergence. And some folks said, oh, isn't that a bearish divergence? And I said, actually, it's a bullish divergence. Because what we had, this was right around here, right at this point. And I put out a tweet and I said, I was looking at the volume. So look at this very big green candle. We had moved higher and some consolidation. And I was essentially just, I was diagnosing, or I was dissecting the consolidation. I saw a very nice volume profile. Large green volume candles, so that's OBV strength, and just the lower lows in the RSI, higher lows in price, hidden bullish divergence. And I said, we're looking like we're going to make another leg higher. And a lot of people call them for bearish divergence. I put out a tweet as I was walking around one of the cities I was visiting and said, if you're doing bearish divergence RSI, you're going against the trend. The long and the short of that was that we had just cleared 88.5. We were testing this key level, but it didn't look to me like we were going to pause there, right? And that's what that tweet was all about, and we didn't. And even though we didn't pause there, I was still generally looking for a lower high here, because even though we're back in the range, we're back above the MA200 daily, we're back above the MA200 4-hour, we've quote-unquote rejoined the trend, I still think we're due for some consolidation, tightening range, and then maybe continuation, but, looking for the higher low. But even though I was looking for the lower high, even though I was looking for that, it didn't look like we were going to pause there, and we didn't. We pushed a little bit higher, and I was thinking, okay, probably 100K is the level, right? Just a little bit higher, 99.5, 100K. And then I saw this, I was just watching the price action again, 4-hour daily, and I'm thinking, I think we're rolling over here. So it kind of looks to me like we're rolling over and we've set our lower high, right? The price would have want to have held on the 95K throwback. I have a tweet in here somewhere. I haven't been that active on Twitter because I've been traveling, right? Here we go. This is me. So basically, I said we're on watch for 95K throwback, and some people said, "Oh, that's bearish," and you know. But here's our throwback, and it looks like we're really failing to hold the throwback. And the issue is here: if it fails to hold here, people are going to start calling for head and shoulders top, right? Because you have the thrust above, you have the initial thrust with volume, thrust above, and then likely some kind of shoulder here. I think it probably does pause. That would make sense. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. So I've been watching the price hold the weekly MA50. Okay, that's a spam call. Watch the price hold the weekly MA50. And then the long trigger, 81K, maybe pause here. Didn't pause. But looking for a lower high here, somewhere to this lower high. I'm like, we're not going to just go to all-time highs. It's not happening right now. We need to consolidate further. And so I think we have our lower high. And then now I think we're looking for higher low. So I just tend to think we're going to 88.5K. That's just my initial thoughts. And that's kind of that. So the long and the short is I think we're going to 88.5, folks. Okay. Ethereum's kind of in between. This is a throwback. Would I buy here? Probably not. I'm not, if I want to go long, I want to find an uptrend that's dipped. So I'm not going to be, that's just not my style. I'd rather see it flip 2150 and take a long there. I still think it's going lower. I still think it's probably going to test, 1400, and kind of go from there. The Uber driver asked me about Ethereum, and I said, well, why don't you wait till lower, maybe 900, just below 1,000? I think there's still a decent chance it gets there. I mean, it's got a long ways to go, but I'm personally it's not that appealing to me to play this week a chart just because there's a throwback. I'd rather play a throwback in an uptrend, not in a downtrend. So if this flips 2150, then I would orient going long, okay? Let's see here. ETH BTC weak to Bitcoin, looking like it's going to continue to roll over. And Solana, this is a throwback. It's not as weak as Ethereum. It's kind of an unconfirmed uptrend. So this is a throwback to 140. Okay. If this has any chance of continuing higher and testing that 180 range, it needs to hold here. So that's an important level, 140. So that's kind of my thesis. I kind of laid out a few things, like checking with the chat room. Good to see you folks. What's up, Anonymous? Martwan, thanks for the comments. Boeing, Sakak, Flaming Gaming, Mike, Khalid, what's up, brother? Mateus Savola, Gilbert, and Carlos. I had a great trip, folks. It's fun to travel. It's fun to get away. Different people, different accents, different food. And, man, everywhere I go, everything's cheaper. I live in such an expensive area. So it is what it is. But, folks, give me some questions. You've got me here for a while. I still have a million things to do, but I wanted to check in with you folks. So if this is your opportunity, hey, thanks, Khalid. Khalid, what do you mean you're ex-altcoin trader? I don't know what that means. You're asking me to join something. Just send me a tweet or whatever, and I'll see what's going on. So, folks, let me know what you're thinking. And, hey, if you've checked out my book, let me know. The reviews are great so far. I am working on my next book, a poker and trading crossover book. So I was doing some research on that. And that's that. So I've given you my thesis in Bitcoin. We talked, where I think it's going. My broader thesis. Taking a look at Sui. Someone had requested Sui. Yeah, Sui kind of heading back towards the 280, 275, 280 range. You've got all this initial candle weakness, doji, small body, and potentially rolling over. What's up, Chocolate? Good to see you, brother. So I think Sui's probably headed back to 275, 280 range. Gilbert's asking, what does a hidden divergence mean? Well, a hidden divergence is a continuation divergence. And, of course, this is explained really well in my Masterclass tutorial playlist that I've created for you to help you understand some really important concepts that may not be basic, but that you need to know. So, like, for example, hidden divergence, and you technically have it a little bit here on the daily chart, and you can use that for an example. So, for little bit. So, for example, like what it means is, and I have the chart, and I could find it. When you have a lower low in the RSI and a higher low in the price, it's a hidden divergence. Or if you have a higher high in the RSI and a lower high in the price, that's a hidden divergence. These are continuation divergences, okay? Regular divergence are reversal divergences. And I don't want to get too academic here. I've only had a few sips of coffee. But RSI is a banded or a bounded, you can use either term, oscillator, fixed limit. Doesn't work as well for regular divergence. If you want to use it for regular divergence, you need at least like a double or maybe a triple regular where you have multiple, lower highs. I like to use it for continuation divergence with the lower lows, right? So it makes sense, right? Like if if the price is doing this and the RSI is doing that, is that good or bad? That's good. Why? Because the RSI has cooled off. It's down to like 40 and the price is all the way up here. It's retained gain. So you have all sorts of room to continue higher. So that's kind of a very like basic version of what hidden divergence is. But I have a longer, more detailed version, of course, in the Masterclass tutorials. Sure. What's up, Andy? You want me to check an S? What is S? SUSD. There's nothing to look at. Maybe there's another exchange. There's no price history here. SUSD. Maybe Kraken has a little more history. Nope. So there's no chart. I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, it's sideways. Can't really do TA in a chart like this. You need more price history. So I'm sorry, there's nothing I can really do on that chart. Thanks, Savola. You want me to look at MicroStrategy? Sure. Let's take a look at strategy. This one had a 2-level filter break. And this has been a very logical consolidation, right? Held at the MA50, held at the SMA 200 and the daily, which is held, since forever. And you had the descending supply trend break, lower high break, W if you want to call it, even atom, whatever you want to call it. You've got peak, you got trough, 2-level filter, and you're long from 340, lower high 390 looks to have been sent back. It's still got some pretty good mojo though. Price with the rising EMA 8, I would just play it as price in between these two ranges, giving edge to bulls. So this is a nice looking chart. I'd say bulls very much have the edge. Andy says Gate IO. Sure, I'll take another look at that for you. Gate IO. All right, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, all right. It's not a great chart. It's not terrible. The higher time frame at least has higher low structure, even higher highs. So you do have that slightly rising tint or tilt to it. Daily chart, not much of a trend. It's in a consolidation. I don't see much of a trade here. I'm a trader. I'm not an investor. I don't believe in altcoins. I think many of them will go to zero. So, but if the market likes it, I love it. Right? Otherwise, I don't care about it. There's not much to do here. You can watch local support. It's not a great chart. It's just consolidating. I give a slight edge to bulls. Gilbert says, how did you arrive at your EMAs and SMAs? You'd ask the price. They just work. And again, Gilbert. So, Gilbert, you haven't watched the Masterclass. These are great questions. I explain it all, every single MA. For EMAs are short term, right? EMA means more price sensitive. So I use the 8 and the 34, the green and the yellow. Some people use like 12 and 26. The middle Bollinger Band's the SMA 20. So I just use Bollinger Bands. It comes with the 20. And then I have the 50 and the 200. So I kind of actually have standard moving averages except for the 8 and the 34. If you remove my 8 and 34, it's a very standard moving average. So the 50 and the 200. 50 is like a good medium term. And 200, classical charting, that's the trend. So I've studied classical charting. It's the foundation for me. That and candlestick theory, of course. So let's see here. Great questions. Great room. ETH short and a loss to 1750. Absolutely, chocolate. That would be very reasonable. You want me to? Mike says, can you look at SUI versus SOL? That's an interesting pair. I don't see a SUI versus SOL pair that will pull up for me. But I looked at SUI and I looked at SOL. So we can do it this way. I can pull up SUI on the daily chart and say it's basically right at its MA200. It's above this support. I go to SOL. SOL's weaker. You can just tell, right? Look at that. SUI, SOL. I don't need a pair to tell that SUI has strength relative to SOL right now. Take a look at Hype. Yeah, Hype's holding above, what was it, 1750 was that key throwback level, and it held there. I think KuCoin. Yeah, so yeah, Hype held here. It's grinding higher. Probably is going to pause here about 22. It's got some mojo, but I think it really needs to get back up above 22, 22.50 to do any kind of real damage. From a technical analysis standpoint, you are limited with this type of chart. There's just not a ton of history. So it's the same thing. It's the same as always. You need more price history, folks. Thank you for being here. Thanks to everybody for hanging out. Just reminding you, I've been on vacation. There's never a guarantee. This says 3 days a week. I'm probably going to switch it to 2 and do Tuesday, Friday. It's summer, and these are fun, but they take a lot out of me, folks. You got to check out Bitcoin Live. That's where I never skip a report. No, but thanks for hanging out here. I'm gonna try to do a lot more free content. I'm gonna try to do more. I'm gonna complete the trading quotes playlist, which is my entire third book. I'll make that free. I've got some interviews that I have lined up, and I'm gonna do the audio book for my new book, Trading Journal. Let's see. I looked at Hype. So Savola, Cheds, people talking about SPX monthly wick. Yeah. Okay. XPX monthly wick. Yeah, it's a nice little candle. It's beautiful. And they're saying people talking about monthly wick full thought on its bullish candle. A beautiful bullish candle. Bulls rejected lower prices. On the monthly time frame, the price, generally throw back to the area of, January peak. It's a beautiful monthly candle. The wick, I mean, it's a beautiful candle. The wick should be support. Does it get filled? I'd say probably not. Will it be tested? Maybe. Midpoint would be reasonable, but you'd actually want to give the edge to bulls with this type of candle. Same thing for the Qs. Say, oh, it's a hanging man. Well, hanging man's a bullish candle. Hanging man continues higher 59% of the time. These are similar candles. This one's even longer, lower shadow. This is a lot of buyer strength, a lot of bullish momentum. So I like this. If you're a bull, you really like this candle. I'm not sure what else to say. Yes, Savol. Yeah, I think people always want to fill the wick. Fill the wick. They're just pessimists. Every wick fills, every gap fills. No, it's a long lower shadow wick. It gives momentum to bulls, and that's the deal, folks. I went over Bitcoin and I talked about. Let's just auto here. I talked about the last few weeks of price action, the push above 88K, the push in 94.5 zone, and I talked about the bullish divergence, how that's played out nicely, set the higher high, and now we're in risk for an up thrust. And it does look to me like a lower high has been set. I think we're on watch for higher low. My TLDR, too long didn't read. I think we're probably dropping back to 88.5K range where we want to see it hold. And that's just my thoughts there. I'm going to wrap it up. I got a million things to do. Of course, I just got back from vacation. I got so many things to do. Folks, you got to watch all my free stuff. A lot of great questions. Watch the tutorial playlist. Just published the 4th book, Trading Journal. Got the reviews out. You will love this book. Definitely consider checking that out. Bitcoin Live, best team in the world that studies crypto. And I've gone 6 years without skipping a report, even on vacation. And I feel like I've been super accurate there. So I'm really proud of that work. Check that out. You know me from Twitter, Big Cheds. You're looking for an exchange, check out Bing X. And other than that, try to have some fun and be kind to yourself. And just, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for showing up. I'm glad I get to touch base with you folks. And I should be back on Friday for another stream. So I will catch up with you guys then, folks. And you find me on Twitter. I'll see if I can answer your questions. And we'll go from there. Wow, dominance at 65%, huh? There you go. I saw some guy, like charts guy or something, trying to do like MACD divergence on Bitcoin dominance. I'm like, bro, like that's just that ain't it. So, all right, I will talk to you soon, folks. Big Cheds out. Folks, be well. Really, really appreciate you. All right? Take care now.